So we're in Guatemala City, getting ready to get into the truck and drive up 5 hours to our coffee farm, Finca Santa Paula, in the region of Coban. 4 generations ago. It started in Guatemala from our father's side, in El Salvador from our mother's side. And we've been basically grew up in the farms since our grandparents. And in the last 10 years, then I've invested in farms in both countries. I kind of always had the fact that I wanted to go back to the farms. But we went to the US. So ended up taking agriculture, economics, and agronomy as a major at the university, thinking that I was going to go back. So it took a few more years for us to get back. But yeah, it was always in me that I wanted to be in coffee. And the alternative to that in Miami was to trade coffee futures in the exchanges. Arriving in Santa Paula, 6:30 in the morning. Typical weather, misty. This is what gives us the characteristics of the coffee. We're going to pull up in here to the wet mill to get the day's activities started. Growing up in a coffee family, having the experiences when I was a little kid going with my dad to his farms, I think I was born with it, so the thing is it doesn't get out of your blood. The reason why I ended up going from school to trading coffee futures and managing risk is what I kind of understood. And 30 years later, that's what I'm still doing, so I really love being in coffee. So this tree is looking really healthy. It's already been picked a few times this year. We still have immature greens, cherries that are ready to go. But the interesting thing of this particular tree is that it's ready for next year. So all of this is going to produce next year. And it's basically every branch as it's coming out. It's just showing us that the farm has future and is well fed. So as we move through the value chain and I visit a coffee plantation, whether it is in the world, at least from the experiences I get at my own farms and the tradition of the 4 generations, I know what I'm looking at. I'm more educated than it's called a competition. I can bring that knowledge and bring it up to a roaster or an importer, try to discover consumption, new consumption trends. It is much more difficult understanding consumption than it is production. Because production, we come out here and we see these fields, and if they look good, we know there's going to be something back there.
That's gorgeous, look at that.
But then when we connect those, we connect the productions and the consumptions, and that we can add value to our customers in a greater detail.
In my case, it was a little bit different. I did follow him to the same university, but I was more intrigued by finance and all things having to do with markets. So I technically haven't stayed on the farm level, but I really enjoy everything that we learned through these generations and the things that we learned way back when as children at the farms. It was just an amazing experience to have been able to have that background. Here are beans that you wouldn't want in there. So these beans are too green and they would make the machine get stuck. So basically they got to pull all these out. It's not that they picked them incorrectly. It's that when they're picking so fast, some of these get in the way. So when they get here, the process is to take them out and make sure that the cleanest berries go into the system. We have a team right now, boots on the ground in Brazil. They're doing similar things that we're doing here, but they're actually doing a macro view and an actual tour of the Brazilian Robusta area and the Arabica area, driving thousands of kilometers. So they're coming back and bringing back all that knowledge. So just imagine multiplying this one farm times thousands. That allows us to have so much more information. We then take that information from the market intelligence teams, transfer it over to the brokers. The brokers then use their knowledge of the money flow going across their desks. And then when you put all together, connect the dots, there is just nothing out there that has that market depth and breadth as we have.
So I try to be in the farm on an average about every 6 weeks. But that's just these farms. As part of my job, I am in farms or in roasting operations or somebody coffee business twice a month at least. So when I go down to Brazil, I'm in Brazil at least 10 days driving around. Our trips as a company are between 4,000 to 6,000 kilometers. So we really understand and learn from them to be able to help our customers around the world. The guys are bringing in the coffee from the washing from yesterday. This is a greenhouse that'll be around 85 degrees. And this coffee is gonna sit here for about 5 to 6 days. If it stays misty like it is now, it can extend itself for about 12 days. They're basically just flipping it over, just turning it over, so recycling so that we can get the same temperature on all the coffee itself. We have an office in Miami, which basically oversees all of Latin America, ex-Brazil. Then we have an office in Brazil that takes care of the largest coffee producing country in the world. Out of London, we're looking at Europe and Africa. And now with the new regulations out of Singapore, we have people in Singapore that are in touch with all of Asia, which is also a very important producer in the world. And all those coffees are going to come up to the consuming countries. More difficult to identify is consumption. But then we do go into the importers and we travel and visit roasters and see how their trends are, what new trends are around, what new kinds of qualities of coffees are being demanded by the marketplace. So when you put those two together, and that is basically the whole value chain, then we can make a difference for our customers in the big picture. So we're now in a finished product warehouse, getting ready to send this out to our dry mill, which is a friend of ours out in Antigua that's going to handle that for us to prepare it for export. So one of the great benefits of dealing with a mill owner, and specifically with somebody that trusts and you know for a long time, is that we can sit here and because of the size of the operation, we can talk about qualities of what is looking like for that particular season. So he's going to have coffees in this mill of every single process. So he's going to have the Arabicas, the high-end coffees, the specialty coffees. He's going to have Robustas. He's going to have processes natural like the ones we've seen today. So we can basically take a cut across the entire country of what he sees in quality and volumes, because he's in tune with not only 2 or 3 producers, he's talking to the whole country itself. So all this information we get from a guy like Mauricio in country allows us to manage the risk and to talk to a buyer or a roaster outside of the producing countries to establish maybe what coffees they're going to go in a particular blend.
While I may have a finance degree, I think that this process of learning from the land and everything that it has to give, and having been working with all these different people, allows me to really be able to analyze a product in a different way. So it doesn't matter if it's coffee, cocoa, sugar, it could even be metals or even currencies. The fact that you already know what people go through, the processes, the difficulty in creating just the base commodity that goes into other things like candy and converting grains into ethanol and things like that. It is a huge step up that you just don't learn at school. It's something that you have to learn hands-on with the people from the land so that you can bring it together.
Our customers get the benefit of knowing that we are out here in the fields, ours or our other customers. But at the end of the day, they realize that we are understanding what everybody else is going through. So having that ability to talk about something from the heart is what our customers really appreciate, and that is why they are with us.
Cheers.